The main reason that everybody becomes a firefighter is the desire to help people.
Jeff Sheps has been a firefighter for almost 17 years. He's a captain with the Phoenix Fire Department.
There's something that poses a new challenge every day. I like the variety. I work with great people.
But the job he loves had to be put on hold for 6 months back in June of 2013.
So we train in the apartment complexes that we work around very often. I was going up some stairs. Somebody was above me. As I looked up, I missed a step, came down and landed on my elbow. It kind of knocked my shoulder straight up. It dislocated my shoulder right away.
A trip to the emergency room showed Jeff's injury was not a minor one.
Typically when people dislocate their shoulder, the ball comes out of the socket. But he had a little more complicated problem than that because the socket actually cracked off a piece of the bone. So his shoulder was still somewhat, not completely dislocated, but out of place when he still came in, even though he had it reset in the emergency room.
Jeff put his medical care in the hands of Dr. Corey Nelson with OrthoArizona.
The plan for him was to try to do this all arthroscopically, minimally invasive through the scope, all through the camera. That bony piece was fairly large, so it was a tougher case, but we were able to do everything through the camera. We got the bone and the soft tissue around the bone called the labrum reattached to his socket. Everything came out very nice during the operation.
Extensive rehab was key to Jeff's recovery.
I found Dr. Nelson to be very forthcoming with information and very reassuring, but it's also scary when you hear about shoulder injuries because everybody seems to make that a place where they kind of come to an end of their physical activity. I kind of set in my mind that I wasn't going to let that happen to me.
Jeff worked hard meeting with a physical therapist and doing home exercises. He was ready to go back to work 4 months after surgery, but Dr. Nelson did not give him the green light.
He knew what the things that were important to me were, but he was also the voice of reason. You know, he understood that his name was on that, and he didn't want, he didn't want one of his patients injured again.
His motion was fantastic, which is one of the things we worry about after this type of an injury that he had. But he got all of his motion back and he got all of his strength back. He did great. I mean, it helps to be a very motivated patient, especially a guy like him who's wanting to get back to work.
While every patient is different when it comes to their recovery, don't be afraid to seek out medical help.
There's always a bit of sacrifice on the side of it when when you can't do what you want to do. But if you can't do what you want to do for 6 months, but then get back to 100%, it's I think a pretty good trade-off compared to the next 20 years of chronic pain.